Everybody, welcome to No Ordinary Woman Chat Show. I'm your host, Miss Kazmak. Where you guys at? We have an amazing guest stored in for you guys today. Nathesha is going to be joining us very shortly. Hi everybody, how's everybody doing on this amazing Saturday? We give God thanks for another day. Just in case you're new to our platform, a platform to inspire, my name is Kazmak, and we are going to continue this whole series of Now What is Mental Health. Nathesha is going to be joining me very shortly. Hi Nathesha, hi Trey, hi Yvette. Guys, what have you guys been, what's been your greatest takeaway so far with the show? It'll be great to hear you guys' feedback. As a show being great, do you think this is something that we should continuously do, like once a month, maybe check on everybody's mental health, mental well-being? But anyway, guys, I've got a surprise. For you. We have an amazing guest live in the studio with me right now, and she's just gonna come on in. Yes! Hey girl! Hey! We are here! Yeah, Reunited! Feels so good! So guys, that is the special guest right now. So I hope you guys have been enjoying themselves. Do you know, how does it feel just to be together right now?
Do you know what? I have missed you so much. I mean, we speak every day, we video call, but it's nothing like being in close contact.
Yes.
So it feels like this is how it's meant to be, you know?
Definitely.
So we've done all the necessaries, hand sanitize, taking all the precautions.
I didn't. So if I got anything, you got two, yeah? No, I'm only playing, we ain't got nothing. But we are mindful of time, so we're going to bring in our guest for this evening. Her name is Nathesha Ashbourne, and she is a mental health advocate. She also gone through her own mental health issues, crisis, which she's going to share with you guys. It's going to be quite sensitive, so do be mindful, about things that you may say, but just listen with intent. And she's going to talk about her journey and talk about her platform that she's also created. So we're going to bring Nathesha on there. Nathesha. So we're waiting for Nathesha to join us.
Yvette said double trouble, by the way. You know that, Yvette.
Hi, Carla. Hi. Nathesha, where you at? You need to accept the request, girl. Yes, she's come.
Hey!
We see you. We're loving the comments and everything.
I see you too, girl. I see you.
You weren't expecting that, were you, Nathesha?
Well, I had a kind of inkling. I know what you girls, you ladies are like, full of surprises. Good ones, though. So good. Good. I was ready.
Oh, bless you. Looking beautiful as ever, Nathesha. So, Nathesha,
thank you.
As we are, in this season of Now What is Mental Health, and we want to just share about your story, because obviously you are a mental health first aider, you're a mother, you've got an amazing son. This woman is just phenomenal. What she's done with her son is just like, when I first met him, like I think it's about 7, 8, 9 years ago.
About that, yeah.
Yeah, mate. He came like he was one of my brethren, because he was teaching me things, yeah. And he's just so amazing. He does amazing stuff. And
what about the homeschooling? How's the homeschooling been?
He's a big man.
Oh, okay.
How old is
How old
is he now?
He's going to be 19 this year. He's at uni.
So you had him when you were 5,
biomedical science. Yeah, about that. Yeah. I'm grateful. I'm thankful for the way that he's growing. He's at university, he's doing biomedical science. He's far more brainier than me. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, he's coping well with the season that we're in. You know, the changes.
How are you
Yeah.
coping?
You know what? To begin with, it was hard. It was actually it was a bit difficult, just like everybody else. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't easy. I actually contracted it as well just before, and I didn't actually realize that that's what it was. I obviously felt all the symptoms, but it was actually week one when they did the lockdown, and I actually realized. I just felt like I could. I just thank God for bringing me through that, because I literally felt like I was dying.
Yeah.
And my son he came back from uni because I said to him, I'm really not feeling great. And he
Yeah.
came down quite quickly, and, you know, he's studying, you know, science and medicine and all that kind of stuff. He was on it. He was on it with the caring for me. And, do you know what I mean? With a combination of all of that, you know, I was able to pull through that. What I really felt through that though, is just like the news and the lots of information, the overwhelmingness of that, the worry, the fear. Do you know what I mean? I just felt like it was coming in all angles, like everybody else, but it was just like too much. I said, well, you need to filter this. I just need the information that comes my way needs to be filtered. Do you know what I mean? All of a sudden there was extra WhatsApp groups, you know, there was just extra of everything. And I'm like, I actually at that point, that increased my anxieties like on another level. And I said, listen, I really need to have information filtered to me, only the stuff that I need to know. That's what I want coming through to me. Literally, that was like my prayer, but it was like a really desperate, I'm escalating, do you know what I mean, in my anxieties. I was having real like chest pains and the works, everything. And it literally, you know, I said, when I actually when I asked him for that, I noticed that things were just passing me. I was not able, you know, some stuff that lots of people were seeing, I was just missing it by chance. It wasn't, do you know what I mean? But I know he was, you know, you so much that you can actually manage. And so, yeah, and I kind of went into a bit more of a quiet space, limited space in terms of communication, to kind of regulate and manage just how I was feeling. You know, and so yeah, but after kind of coming through that, you know, back up the slope, became positive, and, you know, able to just kind of like, right, okay, just work with all the other things that was happening externally around me, and just trying to be of you know, of strength and of encouragement and that kind of stuff. From there, I mean, I lost 2 family members in that process. So
God,
in that
sorry to
time,
hear that, man.
do you know what I mean?
So did you,
It's a hard time.
for yourself, Nathesha, did you actually have a test and tested positive, or you just knew from all the symptoms that you actually had it?
I had an inkling that I had it. I didn't do the test. No, I didn't do none of that. But I saw some of the symptoms, but then I was getting some of the symptoms that weren't yet sort of like it was out there as in terms of symptoms. So again, I was question marking it as though maybe it's not really that was happening. Just afterwards, when I got more knowledge on this and speaking to other people who actually contracted it, I realized that I had it too.
Wow.
It's like, you know,
we give thanks. We give thanks.
God that you're still here with us and your head to share that story. But, you know, obviously we're dealing with now what is mental health. This is Mental Health Awareness Week. And we've had you on the show. We had you on the show last year and the live last year. So guys, if you haven't seen the live, please do just hit the link in our bio and you'll be able to see the actual live event itself. But do just share with those who are tuning in with us about your story. You know, I am going to be very, you know, I will say to guys who are watching, just be really, you know, just sensitive in regards to what's going to be shared. I know this is obviously a very sensitive topic for you, Nathesha, because obviously this is your truth and what you've been through, but how you've actually come out on the other end and how you've been able to create your amazing platform of to be encouraged forever. So, yes, so if you don't mind just sharing.
Wow, I like that intro, by the way. I just had that
You were dumbfounded for just a millisecond there.
So, can you hear me, guys? Yeah, you can still hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah. So, as a child, I was bullied as a child. So I had a lot of sort of the rejection from that, and the saying, the words and everything flying left, right, and center. So I always kind of felt not quite fitting in that respect. Always kind of questioning myself in lots of different ways. That escalated into my adulthood. Do you know what I mean? And that I really had complexes in terms of the way that I perceived myself, the way that I saw myself. I was always kind of conscious of how other people saw me, and I put a lot of value on other people's opinions of me, right? Whether that be family as well as friends. Do you know what I mean? And it's always felt quite awkward in no matter what sort of situation or circumstances I was in socially, felt quite awkward, not really fitting in, like not even having to do anything, but still just not feeling like as though I'm quite fitting in here. So, that, as I said, that was my early adulthood. And then I was also got into relationships that was not not really the right relationship for me. I guess kind of you're seeking that love, and you're seeking that approval and validation. So you valuing what other people are saying to you, and I even did that. Was a subconscious thing. It wasn't even something that I felt that I was in need of. Do you know what I mean? It was just happening. I can talk about it now because I've gone through it and I'm looking back and I can see, okay, this is where I was at, and that's why, I was like this, or that's why certain things happened. But in the moment, I didn't realize that at all. And so I found myself in a really, strange situation, and a strange point in time in my life as well, where I found there was a lot of adversaries, lots of things that was happening to me, that was really quite, it's like one trauma on top of another one, on top of another one, and it's like another one. And then I felt like, okay, I've got through this one, and then it was like something else would happen. And so everything kind of just snowballing into the other. And at that point in time, I had, really had some friends that were around me, and all they saw in me was just, you're a strong person. And that, that's a really nice and positive thing, for people to see that in you. But when you're at your weakest, when you're not feeling that strong, there's an expectation. You've got to be strong. That's all we know. We only know you to be this strong person. You'll bounce back. So again, it was like, I found it quite difficult to be myself and be true, and then be like, actually, I'm really not okay. And I remember saying that to some of my friends, where I went for this entire week where they were trying to reach out to me in lots of different ways. And I just couldn't answer the phone. I couldn't answer the text. They were coming round and they were doing lots of that. And I was just slowly just shifting away from reality. And I remember on like the Friday, answering the phone and just saying, look, I am really not okay. Do you know what I mean? I'm really, really, I'm just in a weak place. I'm not strong. It was just a disappointment to them, but I was like, I'm just not feeling strong right now. And so they, and then it was a different kind, there was support that came in at that point in time. And, but that was, one of my darkest moments, if we could say that, my lowest places.
How long would you say that? Sorry to interrupt, but how long would you say that kind of period lasted for? That episode, if you like, or that low
intense,
time lasted for? Yeah,
so that intense moment happened. It was a week, one solid week of just deteriorating. That's the way that I would describe it. I was deteriorating, and I could feel myself withdrawing. At that point, I would kind of just take my son to school, come back, but I would just be walking like I remember a car literally just missing me as I was stepped out into the road. I was just kind of walking with no kind of emotion, no feeling, no kind of, do you know what I mean? Just walking into this.
Almost out of body, like by the sounds of it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. That was exactly what it was. It was completely, and I was actually aware of this. I'm out of body. This is happening, but it's like you're still in the moment. So you're kind of being you, but you're also aware that you're drifting off somewhere. You know, I was quite aware that I was drifting off somewhere, and you know, because lots of other thoughts were I've been bombarded by lots of negative thoughts that was coming into my mind. I got down to a point where I was just like, what is the point of me actually living? Do you know what I mean? That's where I got to.
So when you were saying the negative thoughts, can you just like describe that? I mean, obviously you're saying that, you know, what was the point of you living? I'm assuming you was having like suicidal thoughts and things like that, right?
Yeah. So it was, you know, I was then, you know, contemplating, okay, how am I going to do this, and or going through kind of a checklist in my mind as to, you know, what is what's my why am I here? What? Because there was so much stuff happening, so it was like there was a part of me that realized that knew that there was something that I needed to tap into. But where I was in my life, I was nowhere near that thing, you know, nowhere near tapping into that, you know. So it was just like there was so much other negative things that was happening. So I'm like, what is the reason? You know, what hope do I have? What's my reason to really stick in and be here? You know what I mean? And I went through. I said, well, family, friends, they'll be all right without me. Do you know what I mean? I kind of went through down a checklist.
What about your son?
What about your son? That's what I was going to say.
What
was
the
that
final
process?
Yeah, that was my final when I got down to him, you know, because it was quite easy. I got down to him, and then I thought, I remember thinking to myself, well, you know, all my family and friends, they know me, they know the way that I want to raise him. So if I'm not around, they'll be able to do that on my behalf.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But then at the same time, yeah, it's like, it's your son, isn't it?
It's like, it was like another voice that was like saying to me, but no, that is the reason for you to live.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That very same reason. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, they can try and do it your way, but they're not you. He needs you. Do you know what I mean? He needs you. And I remember, and I kind of went right back to the day when I actually gave birth to him. And I remember feeling that blessing, you know, that I've been given this life, a boy, right? Because had to be a boy. Right? So I've been given this young man to raise for a reason. And that's what I linked back, you know, the two of those in that moment. There is a reason for why, do you know what I mean? He's my existence. He's my reason to keep going. He's my reason to, do you know what I mean? That is the push. And, you know, just to kind of.
Your son? Sorry, Nathesha, how old was he at this time?
That's all right. He was around, he was about 6. Yeah, he was quite young. He was really young. He was quite young, and yeah, just to kind of, you know, go back. I kind of working a little bit backwards in what I'm saying here, you know, just to kind of, because I kind of realized that I've skipped. One of the biggest traumas from what happened to me, brought me to that place, was that I was abused. Okay, I was abused, and I was raped, and so that when that time really brought me to a place where my self-worth, or I questioned my self-worth. I questioned, you know, well, that's kind of that's all I'm good for type of, that was where I came to in my mind, right? Because I couldn't find no other sort of reason for why that had happened. Do you know what I mean? And so I directed it back to myself. Do you know what I mean? It must be me.
Yeah. But that's the
And
thing.
it
I
must be
mean,
something that I heard. Yeah.
when you hear stories, and I'm really sorry to, obviously have you relive this moment again. But when you normally hear about, those who have been raped, abused, you always think you're the one that's caused this to happen. And it's
Absolutely.
not you that's caused it to happen,
Mm-mm.
it's what that person's going through. Do you understand what I'm saying? But
Mm.
unfortunately, they've taken liberties
That's
and
right. Yeah.
intruded into your vulnerability as a woman as
Yeah.
well, and taken
Yeah.
advantage. So and I would like to salute you and condemn you for really sharing that, because I can
Thank
feel
you.
that now, and I'm
Mm.
just trying to hold back those tears and everything. So sorry to
Mm.
interrupt, but thank you
No, no,
for
no, it's fine.
sharing.
It's fine. It's fine. Um, yeah, so the questions the questions start, and but it's all directed internally. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Finding reasons, and I think and I was really ashamed that happened. I was very ashamed. I was really embarrassed, and I did all the things that you normally do, which is you go for your checks and you make sure that you haven't got this, and you make sure that, do you know what I mean? You're praying now and hoping that you're not pregnant and all those kind of things. And,
Mm.
you're taking the pill and stuff like that. But I, there was no way that I could tell anybody that. There was just nobody, nowhere that I can tell that to, apart
Mm.
from the nurse. I remember telling the nurse, and I remember her saying to me, "Is there somebody who you could share, who you could tell this with?" And I was like, no, no chance.
So
No
you
chance.
so you carried this then. You
I carried that.
literally internalized that and
Yeah,
carried it.
yeah, yeah,
Until you
yeah. I
suffered
carried
yourself.
that I carried that, and um, you know what I mean? I was shamed. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
I felt, do you know what I mean? I felt disgusted. I felt dirty. I felt all the kind of things that a woman feels when they've been invaded, in that area. Do you know what I mean? I felt all of that. And so, and it was, as I said, it was so hard then to kind of share that with anybody, which is like this big fat secret that I'm now carrying, I'm holding and
Yeah.
I'm carrying, and having to still get on with life as normal, be a
Hmm.
mother. Do you know what I mean? At the time, do you know what I mean? I was studying, so I was at uni. Do you know what I mean? Kind of get on with the rest of my life, like put on the face, hi to my tutors, hi to my friends at uni and family and friends, and literally just carry on
Cameron is
soldiering through life as normal. And I think I would really, really, but I believe that that's really what a combination of that with, you know, past stuff, carrying that for such a long time, that's what caused a lot for me mentally, to mess with my mental
Yeah.
health there, because you know
Yeah.
it's eaten
Because
away.
yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, like, I think it was it Kay or somebody shared, I'm not sure if it was last year or if it was during this week, the
Mm.
importance, that's why you've got to talk about it, you've got to talk about these
Absolutely.
things, because when you don't,
Yeah,
internally, it makes you ill. It
Yeah.
makes you
it
sick. Do you know what I
does.
It
mean?
doesn't
It
disappear.
does.
It doesn't, because it's just like, it's like having a rotten, it's like
Just bury it,
it's
don't
just
you? Yeah.
bearing it, but
Yeah,
eventually
yeah,
it's going to have an
yeah.
impact. It's going to affect certain parts of your
It does.
body, your organs,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
etc. You think about a
Absolutely.
rotten lemon or a rotten fruit, and you've got all
Mm.
these fresh fruits there. Eventually, that rotten fruit is going to affect all of
Yeah,
the fresh fruit. Do you
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
you have to get
Yeah,
rid of it, But if you're
yeah.
internalizing it,
It's like, where does it go? Where does it
that's
go? And that filters out into not just physically, but it filters out in other areas of your life too. You understand? Do you know what I mean? And in different ways, you see, and sometimes you catch, I was catching myself and thinking, why am I reacting to things like this, or reacting to that over there like that? And it came back to, do you know what I mean? Certain, the root of, not dealing with certain things. Do you know what I
mm-hmm.
mean? Not, forgiving, you know what I mean, and letting go. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Not seeing that actually, you know, there was that's the person has the person has the issue. The issue lies with them and not with
That's right.
me.
Not you.
Do you know what I
That's
mean?
right.
And I don't need to carry this. Do you know what I mean? I can put it down and I can move forward with life, and I don't, you know, and kind of look at and put a better value and price upon who I
Yourself.
am. Do you know what I mean? Myself. You get me? So it's rather than belittling, you know, and so yeah,
You
that took
mentioned,
that.
sorry, you mentioned about forgiveness, right? And that
Yeah.
is a really important part of healing, and
Yes.
actually dealing with any traumas or issues that we've gone through. I've had my own traumas, and I've had to forgive,
Mm-mm.
but you don't just forgive. First of all,
Mm-mm.
you have to accept
Yes.
what's happened.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
have to accept
Yeah.
what's happening. Otherwise, what are you forgiving?
right. So you have to
Yeah.
accept it's
Exactly.
happened,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
you have to accept that this wasn't your fault, and then you can move to the process of forgiveness. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a staged process. But you're absolutely right.
Mhm.
Forgiveness is a massive part of it. But sorry, go on.
Yeah.
You were saying.
Yeah, it's such a key because that just again, if you're not forgiving, that can eat away at you in another way, you know. So that's just another layer on top of whatever else is happening underneath. Do you know what I mean? And it just becomes a whole as I said, there's a lemon or bad apple. You just got something just you know manifesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as we, you know, we are people, we're always around people. So again, you know, you're kind of just like sharing bits of that negative all over the place, and you don't
Yes.
even realize
Feelings. Yeah.
the impact that it's having on other people around you, you know. So yeah, that, you know, I had to do my own bit of work there in terms of forgiveness, and it is a stages thing, you know, that forgiving, it's the healing, it's the restoration that comes with that as well. Subsequently, you know, that was at also a point of time for me where, you know, I had to look, started focusing more on my spiritual life as opposed to any other aspect of me, you know. So, you know, I connected more with God. I became a born again Christian at that point in time as well. You know, I began to read the Bible, you know, and there was words as I looked into the Bible, I began to really see, examples and of what God's foot says about his people, you know, how he's created you and he's made you beautiful. He's created you fearfully and you're wonderfully made. Do you know what I mean? And you know, and he says, you are the apple of my eye, you know, and there's so much of these scriptures that he repeatedly saying to, you know, us in and throughout his word to make us know that first and foremost, it's God's love. God, we are created in his image, right?
Yes. Yeah.
We are all created, right, by him. And we were created in love.
Yes.
No matter how we got here, God is
Yeah.
love.
Yeah.
And we were created in love, right?
Mm.
So we are an example, a reflection of God, of God's love in a fleshly way. We are here, right, because of God and through His love. Now, when you look at, you have Him telling you who you are.
Mm.
It erases any past label that you've attached to yourself
Mm.
or other people have attached to yourself, right? Because now
Mm.
you have a truth that can't be measured by anything else. It's a stamp, his stamp of approval.
So
Do
would
you
you
know what I
say
mean?
that it was your faith that kind of helped you, or did you actually go and get kind of professional help from an expert or a therapist, or was it a combination of the two?
I tried to go down. So before my faith, before it became my faith, you know, I tried to go down the route of, you know, the professional help and you know, I was, you know, given the sleeping tablets and the you know, the antidepressants and all of that kind of stuff. But even though I had those, at the same time, it was almost like I found it difficult to take them. It was just like I couldn't make the connection with that life and, you know, the potential of me being on this medication for a very long time. right? There was something that wasn't adding up in that sort of that direction of life. Do you know what I mean? It was like, no, I wasn't made to go down that route. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I wasn't made to go that route. So, and because, so as I said, because I was already on a journey of a spiritual journey. Okay. So then it was when I began to see the words which are powerful, right?
Mm.
Words that are strengthening to me, words that are giving me life. Do you know what I mean? When I began to read those words, I connected
With
with
the
the
words.
word.
Yeah.
Mm.
But it was, I
Yeah.
mean, but what's interesting about what you're saying and what's going through my mind is that not everybody has that. Not when
No.
everybody,
Mm,
is going to lean on the words of God because,
that's
like
right.
if you are, not saying you aren't, but some people are so traumatized, they're still thinking
Yeah.
and they're still feeling, why me? Why have I gone
Yeah.
through this? It's hard to then detach from, and I
Yeah.
think even where you're talking about your faith and everything else, and I think that's
Mm,
beautiful, but at the
mm,
same time, there is other men and women who are going
yeah.
into, the faith, and they
Yeah.
actually do need that professional help.
Absolutely.
Because,
Oh
like
yeah.
I was saying with Zainab yesterday, telling somebody who's feeling suicidal, who's looking to jump off a 3-story house building or whatever it may potentially be, telling them to lean on scripture, that's not going to help them in that frame of
Yeah.
mind at that
Yeah.
time. For
Mm,
you,
mm,
that's
mm,
a blessing. Do you understand what I'm
mm,
saying?
mm,
That
mm.
you
Yeah.
had that inner strength and you had that connection to be able to do so, but not everybody
Mm, mm,
can
mm.
do that.
But I
Absolutely.
think
I
that's so
totally.
true. Sorry, I just wanted to add there because that's so true what you said.
Mm,
Somebody who's at the lowest place in their life, you can't just say to them, "Well, go and
mm,
read
mm,
the
mm, mm,
Bible,"
mm, mm.
because that might not have any meaning or
No.
impact to them.
No.
You mentioned
Yeah.
something about you were on a spiritual journey,
Mm,
and I
Mm,
think regardless of you know whatever your belief is, it might not be religious or whatever, but I think there's
mm.
something about connecting
connecting,
with your
yeah,
with
spirit being,
yourself,
yeah,
with
yourself,
your this
yeah.
inner being that's beyond the
Yeah.
physical. And once you
Yeah.
find the connection with that, then you're more easily able to work through stuff.
Absolutely, totally. And when I even when I say that, coming to having a spiritual journey and reading the Bible, it wasn't just like reading the Bible. There's the word, ta-da.
Yeah.
No, 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 it wasn't. No, it wasn't. I actually remember in the very early parts of that, I felt I've had a lot of my, depression and still had a lot of those thoughts
Mm,
whilst I was reading the Bible and hearing the word, right?
mm,
I was still having those thoughts, but there is a scripture. I will always use it because it says, is it, faith comes by hearing and hearing the word of God.
hearing the
So the
word,
more you hear it, is the more you more it resonates in your spirit,
yeah,
right? See, we're back to the spirit now because it's all about your spirit. As said, when you connect with your spirit, then
mm-hmm.
because that's where your root is. That's your source, your spirit. Do you
That's
know what I
right.
mean?
That's a
Your
real
outer
you.
being is just exactly that is your real you. Do you see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Yeah. So it was that, and I'm not for it's not an easy thing. It doesn't mean because you have because you have faith or because you have the word of God, it means that everything's going to be suddenly turned around and everything's going to be gone. No, it's a process.
Yeah.
It is a process. It does take time, and for me, I know that staying connected spiritually is the foundation that keeps me floating. That's what keeps me
Mm,
going,
Yeah.
right?
I
Because
mean,
if I
Hannah,
what if I
so I was just going to say, one of our viewers, Hannah, has said, when your mind is not your own in that
mm,
moment, you're
yeah,
concentrating on tasks, and trying to
yeah,
concentrate, especially on the Bible, can feel very overwhelming, is
yeah.
what she says.
of course,
And I
yeah, yeah,
agree with
yeah.
that
In fact,
because I've been in a position where I remember when I was a Christian, and there was one time I was in church and it was a fight to go to church. I didn't
yeah,
want to get out of bed.
yeah,
I didn't want to go to church. It was a struggle. And I remember
yeah,
getting there, and it's almost as if when I went there, it was almost like, I always put on this facade almost. I had to be a certain way. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even when you're feeling quite doo-doo-ish, you know, you're still trying to find it to just be, and then if your face is set, your face is set. And I remember this specific Sunday, and it was a struggle. And literally, the special speaker that they had that was there, he actually called me out from the congregation, and he was like praying and just saying like, devil, leave her mind. And I'm thinking, how does he know that I'm going through anything? Do you know what I mean? You know, I just didn't quite understand it. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm with these people all the time and they don't even really understand that I've been going through what I'm going through. And this man come all the way from the US and he was able to, you know, and I was just like, huh? You know, but obviously in that time I wasn't feeling that, but it just made me feel like, if I'm going to be completely honest, that was a time when I thought to myself, God must be real. God must be real, because how would he that does not know me know that I'm going through a struggle? He knew that I was going through trauma in my head, like a constant like battle.
Yes. 100. I've been there. Kaz. I've been there. I've been in church and I've been having the battles before, and no one has picked up on that. Do you know what I mean? At times, or the person who you think's going to pick up on it does not pick up on it, and somebody else does. So that's what when you say, you know, how God is real. God is real. I get that. Because you see what God does. God will send whoever He needs to send into your life, right? To help you wherever you are on that journey. He will use anybody. All right. He will use anybody at any point. In fact, anybody who's available, anybody who's open, anybody who's ready.
Open. You see, that's the one. Open.
Come on,
girl,
anybody.
Open.
Open. You've got to be open. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not against you know, in terms of like receiving help anywhere else, because I was fortunate to also through my work tap into coaching as well as counseling. Do you understand? So, you know, there was so I was able to get, it didn't come through my church in terms of you know, as an avenue. It came from somewhere else. So but I had the best of both. I had the word of God, and then I've got another method here. You understand? You know, and sometimes you have to use both. Sometimes you can use one at one point, and sometimes you just need the other one. Sometimes you have to combine both. You've got to tap into what's right for you. You've got to use what is right for you. Do you know what I mean? You've got to access the things that are there for you out there. Do you know what I mean? The point of it is not to leave it. Don't do you know what I mean? Don't shut out and you know, like it's just not happening, because it's real. It's real. It really is real. And there's regardless if you're in the faith or you're out of faith, people are going through this. Do you understand? People are going through this. I know people are going through this in the faith. People are going through this, right? You know, and outside.
Well, I was just going to add that, because you know, obviously we've been doing this whole week this week, and it's so needed, and the feedback that we've been getting has been phenomenal. People are so desperate for information, for stories to share, to understand, and to you know, hear other people's experiences, because essentially what that lets people know is that they're not the only ones going through certain things.
Absolutely.
And I think that is the thing that we need to do. We need to be honest.
Honest. Come on.
And like you were saying, it's something that even Faye was saying as well. I mean, not Faye, Kay was saying, don't feel no shame.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying? Because a lot of the time we feel shameful, because you look at somebody else and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I wish my life was like that. They don't have no problem. But you know, someone could look at you and think, there's no way she went through what she went through. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing going back to mental health. There's no way that you can see that someone's got a mental health illness, because it doesn't, you know, there is certain circumstances, schizophrenia, etc. You know, there's certain individuals when they go through having like their episodes and everything else, it is quite presentable. But at the same time, it's still an illness. It's still you're absolutely right. It's still an illness. It's still an illness. And
It's still happening. But just on that point that you mentioned, Tracy says, no disrespect meant, but for some, religion doesn't always help. It can sometimes exacerbate the situation. And when I think about it, I grew up in the church. Right? I wouldn't necessarily class myself as religious. I'm spiritual. I believe there's a higher power. I'm on my own journey, and my journey is my journey, and it works for me, right? But I remember growing up in the church, and anybody who had a mental health issue, they were told that they got demons inside their body. You know, when you have cancer, you're not told you have demons. When you have, I don't know, when you have diabetes or another illness, you're not told that you're possessed with demons. But this whole thing about being possessed with demons. Now, I don't want to disrespect any believers out there and anybody who has their faith. But I think that just on Tracy's point of what she has said, that especially in the Black church, I'm going to say, has been something that when somebody presents themselves with, you know, often schizophrenia, it's like, yeah, they're possessed with demons. No, they are ill. End of story.
And it's about educating. It's about educating. When you educate yourself, you get to understand more about what that illness is. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because the same way you could say that person is possessed with demons, and you could look at scripture and you could maybe try and link it with that, I don't think that's correct in doing so, because like we said, you was internalizing what you went through with the rape, the abuse, etc. Right? So to my understanding, when you're carrying certain kind of trauma, eventually it can become some kind of a disease. Do you know what I'm saying? So whether that's going to make it become cancerous, etc. I don't hear no one saying to no cancer patient that how you got a demon. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it could be something that they're carrying still within themselves. But is that going to give you the permission to call that person a demon? I think it's just like we need to educate ourselves when we come to like mental illness, because it's just a lack of education. And I think that because of the lack of education, that's what makes it really hard for those that may want to go into the church, but they're scared that they're going to be kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, just kind of like being judged. Judged.
I mean, Sheila, to put it on the flip side, another one of our viewers has said that demons and illnesses can be one and the same thing. And I understand what she means by that. But I think that it's the wording, and characterizing people in a certain way isn't helpful. And so, you know, obviously this discussion has kind of gone down a faith route, which is fine. But it's all about just understanding that we need to be compassionate, we need to be sympathetic, and we need to listen and be open. The brain is an organ that, you know, is functions off of hormones and signals, and when those signals are out of sync, that creates problems.
Yeah, because it's imbalanced then. Do you know what I mean? And with that imbalance now, you're not able to operate in your normal senses because something could have triggered it. Do you understand what I'm saying? You know, so I'm not a scientist or anything like that, but based upon what's been shared, even by reading books and everything else, I mean, it's a lot. And I just think not even just about faith, it's not just about the church, it's just on a whole, we need to get educated, we need to be more compassionate. I mean, mental health is being talking about, the theme this year is kindness. We have to be compassionate all the time, you know, all the time. Yeah.
So you were able to take your experience, you came through the other side, and we give thanks for that, you know, and not only have you done that, but you've been able to take your experience and you now use your experience to help other people. So just tell us a bit about that as well, Nathesha.
So yeah, I mean, it's first of all, I'm still a work in progress. Yeah, this is, you know, I haven't arrived anywhere. We all are, exactly. You know, we're all
we're all whips.
What I want to say with that is that what I've been able to do is, yes, use my faith, use the word of God, everything starts with love, as I said earlier on, that God is love, right? And and He is a God of compassion, right? And that's how we ought to be receiving one another, is through compassion, right? And so, you know, I do totally agree when you say, you know, lots of things are coming from a place of trauma. And if it's not dealt with, then it escalates, and it manifests itself in different ways, right? So, you know, there is definitely work that needs to happen there, whichever way, whatever angle that you get the help, it needs to come from that way. So what I have just kind of rolled into a kind of an area of field where I work with, you know, with young people. And I've done, as you said earlier on, call it mental health first aider. I've done a lot of work around trauma, and building, resilience. All right. Helping, you know, individuals to kind of build.
What's a mental health first aider?
Yeah. Because I keep hearing that.
So it's somebody who you study the mind, you study how the mind works in a short way, if you like, right? How the mind works, what are the triggers, the imbalances of the mind, how you can support somebody who is showing signs in those kind of ways. Sometimes some people need medication, some need another form, some need, you know what I mean? So you kind of, you're able to support that person to a degree, and then signpost them out to a more a specialist person. All right. But you're kind of able to kind of initially pick up the initial stages, if you like, of somebody who's showing some sort of signs of their imbalance with their mental well-being. Yeah. So right about now. So I do a lot of work with young people, you know, a targeted kind of group of people, vulnerable people as well, with different needs and traumas and so forth, support them in lots of different ways. And one of the things that I've recently done, back in October, was I set up a health drop-in. So I work alongside a designated nurse, and we're able to is really kind of open for a set targeted group of young people who are able to come in, access some help, support, advice, information, anything around their health, mental health and well-being. And you know, there's lots of questions, you know, that they might have, but also it's empowering them to be able to use the other services that are out here, the online services, tap in, you know, and make those inquiries for themselves, so they're not solely dependent on someone, but they can kind of pick up on signs that are early for themselves and then say, right, okay, this is what I need to do. The key thing is accessing the support and not staying silent. So that's one thing.
That's I think I really wanted to pick up on the point, because you said accessing the support and not staying silent. You know, Tracy made another comment. She said it's beautiful if people can have a faith and that helps them. But in her opinion, like, and in my opinion too, support and talking about your emotions, you know, whatever you're going through is the most important thing. You've got to deal with yours. So for some, it might be through a faith that they find that. For some, it might be through therapy that they find that. Through some, it might be through some holistic practice that they find that. But before any of that, you have got to deal with what is going on, right?
I totally agree. I mean, I don't need to digress the show at all, and I'm mindful of time. But even with Angela Marsh, she done a play called Take Me Back. And you saw in that play where there were so many underlying issues that these mother was carrying, the trauma, etc. And then that obviously passed on to their children, and it created more problems. And what they were using was their faith, to my understanding, to mask everything up rather than dealing with the root problems. You understand what I'm saying? So I think in terms of what you're offering for these young people is a must, you know. They need that support, they need the information, they need somewhere where they can feel safe to be able to do so. You understand what I'm saying? Because that's one of the number one thing that a lot of these young people do not have. And even for some of
Yes.
us as adults as well, we don't even have
Adults
that,
as well.
because you can share certain
Yeah.
things with certain people, and mate, you don't even know
Yeah.
how that information is going to be used on the other side. Do you
You
understand what I'm
don't
saying?
know.
You know, so
You don't know.
it's just really
There's
creating safe places.
those exactly, and you know, I've not just with young people, but I've done it with adults as well. I've done it with women as well. Creating a safe space, creating forums where where people can talk, can be open, can trust that whatever they're sharing, it stays in the room. You know, that allows people to open up, that allows things to you to kind of unpick things and get to the root of some things. Some things are being carried, as I said, from childhood. You know, it
Yeah,
goes right back, really right back. You know, some things are being bottled and carried, and they're adults now, right? So
yeah,
I'm so for talk therapy. That's something that I am a talker. That's something that it's a support that that I offer in many different ways. And you know, it's important that the words that we use in response to anyone, you be sensitive. Be sensitive in your replies,
mm,
you know, not to undermine anyone that is in who's feeling like this at the moment or at that time. You know, I get calls all the time, right? I get calls where people are feeling a certain kind of way. Now, you know, because I've been on one side of the fence, I know what it feels like and how
mm,
important it is to have somebody who you can talk to have a soundboard there. Do you know what I mean? Somebody
yeah,
who's ready to listen to what you're saying. You know, you can't even in that moment, you might not be able to break it down for yourself, but so you're just like speaking it. You're just, this is what I'm feeling right now. You don't understand it, but this
yeah,
is what I'm feeling right now. And you just need somebody on the other end of the phone to hear that,
yeah,
just
yeah,
to hear that.
yeah,
Okay, just to hear that. It's even better if somebody is you know, skilled in that area in
mm,
whatever way, whether it be whether that means that they got the theory behind it, whether it's the spiritual, you know, they can give you the word of God, whatever it is. But it's even better, you know. What causes a lot of the illnesses to escalate is not talking about it. When people
yeah,
shut down, you go into a place of isolation. We are in isolation, in lockdown, right? So for
yeah,
me, this time is so crucial, right?
yeah,
It's so crucial because the world of somebody who's feeling that kind of way, they already go into a place of lockdown within
yeah,
themselves, right?
yeah,
Isolation, right?
mm-hmm.
And then things pile on top, on top, on top. Thoughts, things, words, everything, it goes on top. We are all as a nation in lockdown. So imagine how much more critical those, you know,
The
right
services.
now.
Mm,
I mean, that you know, we had Kay on, and you met Kay when you were when you were on the
Yeah,
live event
yeah,
last year on the panel. And
yeah.
Kay, you know, I asked Kay, I said to her, did you find that demand for your services? Kay's a counsellor and a psychotherapist. Did she find that demand for her services had increased
she said,
during
yeah,
this time? And her
Yeah, yeah,
response
yeah.
was yes.
yes, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I found that in my field of work where, you know, I've had to be more available, you know, because young people need that outlet even more. They're like,
mm-hmm.
do you know what I mean? You're stuck and there's only so much you can be confined to a space for so long,
Yeah,
you know, unless
definitely.
you're able to tap into some other things. You know, I also offer like a creative kind of outlet for them as well, so that gives them an opportunity to then express themselves, you know, and take up it brings their focus onto something more positive, you know, and stimulating. Again, you need
Is
to
this,
stimulate their minds.
sorry, I'm just
Mm,
mindful of time. So is this, you know, so
right.
this is within your actual career, what you do as work, but can you just tell us a bit more about Be Encouraged
Be
Forever?
encouraged. Yes. Yeah. So that was birthed 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that was at a point, that was at the time, the peak when I needed encouragement. All right. And I understood the power of words. So I started encouraging myself and then sharing it with people around me, and then realized actually I saw the response to those words of encouragement. So I then created a platform on a online platform, and where I would have the word, have encouraging words of hope, words of faith, words of healing, words of love, just anything around any of those topics, I will just share and share and share. And that's been growing in the background. So, it hasn't been something that, a lot of people have known that I'm the person behind that. But now is the time
They need to know. They need to know, Nathesha.
They know now. Okay, so so you can get that. I'm on Facebook. It's Be Encouraged Forever. I'm also on Insta, on IG. So we're kind of new on IG, but we've been on Facebook since 2014. And yeah, so I use that as a you just never know when you're scrolling, a message pops up. That's a word for you. That's it. That just lifts your day. Do you know what I mean?
Shaq your son? Sorry to just detour a little bit. Is Shaq your son?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just put it up. I just put it up, guys. I'm not actually being rude. I'm trying to multitask here with the iPad, looking at your comments and also answering the questions. I put it up, but he's put it up. Hi, Shaq.
You put it up.
Well done, Shaq. That's why you're the number one son.
That's why, son. That's why. He's laughing. But yeah, it's all of those. That whole platform is about keeping a positive mind. It's about, because if your mind is positive, what you think is positive, then you will begin to act upon that.
Yes.
Right. It's so important. Words are powerful. Words can build you up. Words can be a blessing. Words can bring you down. Words can crush you. Right? So words are powerful. As I said, I use that to release words of positive energy, positivity. It's good for our mindset. It is good.
We've got literally maybe about 2 minutes left. It's a bit fast, so we've got a bit of time. So we've got literally about 2 or 3 minutes left, but we do want to take some questions. In the meantime, you've said about so guys, please, if you have any questions for Nathesha, please ask her absolutely anything you want to. You've heard about Nathesha's stories, she's gone through trauma and she's now helping others. But in the meantime, you've spoken about Be Encouraged Forever. Where else can people find you?
Well, you can find me on my my normal, it's N_God's girl. Instagram, Facebook. That's enough for me.
Well, you can see that I'm actually linked in with Nathesha, that we're having a conversation. So it's N_God. Yeah. So guys, please connect with Nathesha, and also connect with her on Be Encouraged Forever. On just Google it, and it will just bring up all that information on Facebook or Instagram. So just do the Google search and you'll get all the information. Is there any other questions?
I don't have any other questions at the moment. However, what I would ask from you, Nathesha, is just 3 parting tips that you would give to our viewers, to anyone who's struggling, or if they know anyone who is struggling, to help them to cope or to reach out and get help. Just 3 things that you would encourage, or more if you like, but 3 things that you would encourage somebody to do to get help.
Find somebody that you trust. Okay, no matter who it is, family, friend, work colleague, whoever it is. Find that one person who you can trust. Speak to them. Okay. I would definitely, that's the first thing. You're not alone. All right. So don't ever feel like you are. All right. Because it's easy to feel that way, that it's only you, that you're the only person going through it. It isn't so. There's always help not far away. What else can I say? In terms of, those are talk. I think I just say talk about it. Talk about it. If you've got faith, if you're already connected with, you've got your spiritual relationship with God, tap into that, because that's a fundamental source. that's going to keep you grounded, that's going to bring you back to balance, a place of balance and stability. So definitely I would, I encourage, to go down your route where your faith is concerned. And yeah, be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. All right.
Be kind to yourself.
Yeah,
I'm learning that
kind.
myself. I've been learning that.
Be kind. Do the things.
Right?
Yeah, do the things. Yeah, do the things that really.
Countdown.
We're on the countdown. 20
Do the things,
seconds.
All right, do the things that makes you feel good. Go for walks, play music, whatever it is, sing, dance, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Encourage yourself. Try and encourage yourself. Do the things that you love. Okay.
Okay, we literally got a few seconds, so we're going to have to love you and leave you. And thank you. Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. Thank you.
Tomorrow.